I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. The first is the EEK Witchy decor. We're going to use some black chalkboard paint from Dollar Tree, Mod Podge, I'm using matte for my project, a variety of paint brushes, sander, or any type of little sanding tool. Needs to be small, even an emery board. This EEK sign from Dollar Tree, they've had it for years and years. Y'all look at this.
What's the big idea?
Really? Really, Goodwill? Anyway, these came off of a hanging sign from Dollar Tree that I took apart and used in another way. So I had these left. We're going to use these. These are from Amazon. I'm going to have that link for you so that you can look yourself. Scrapbooking paper, and then I have these in, the pack comes in a variety of sizes. A piece of fabric. I'm going to take the hanger off because we don't need it. Tried to pull it with my hand, would not come off. They're attached with staples. So it's got a little bump there. I'm just going to sand it, and to make it nice and smooth, because in the end I'll paint the back. To start, we're going to paint around the edges and in all of those in-between spaces the chalkboard black color. You can use any black you want, but the chalkboard paint and the chalk paint gives a really good coverage. So you're not going to have to do but one coat on here, and it's going to cover it up and give a very nice outline, which is going to make your project pop. And we like that, don't we? We like those projects to pop. Around and around we go. I found using a narrow brush on a narrow piece really helps. Don't worry though, because you're going to see in a minute I'll make a mess with the paint, and I will show you how you can clean that up. And you do need to clean it up when you put other pieces of stuff on top of it. So this is what it looks like. Of course, you want everything to dry thoroughly. I've even cleaned up the table a bit. This is the fabric and the two pieces I know I want to use. I'm going to trim down this fabric to go on the lowercase e in the middle here. Just going to trim that down. It does not have to be exact because we're going to be trimming it up. No problems, no worries. So now I know where I want it. I'm going to take that Mod Podge and put it just on the lowercase e. And I'm making sure that I make that line straight across the uppercase E. I feel like this is English class. Okay, and we're going to go all the way around that little loop part, because I only want the fabric on here. I don't want it to be on the other letters or the exclamation point. Feels like I'm painting. I'm just trying to get an even coverage here. And you know, when you use fabric and Mod Podge, you want to be a little more generous. So then I'm very lightly going to drag this squeegee over the top. This is a Mod Podge squeegee. I have been asked before where I got it, and I got it from plaidonline.com. Now I'm going to go right on top. I'm lifting the corner to make sure that I get it just on the E underneath. So I'm just kind of looking underneath to make sure I get it in the right spot. And I'll go all the way around the E with this Mod Podge. It's easy to do. Y'all, I've got such a busy day. If I'm talking too fast, just forgive me. Kids are back in school. We've got a band thing to go do. We have a meet the parents thing to do. It's a really busy day. On a Thursday of all days. Right here when they know I'm trying to put a video out for y'all. The nerve. So I'm going to go over the edge here just to overlap it. The idea is to get it. You can see the E through the fabric here, and so what I'm trying to say is you want to be sure that you extend it over the sides, because we want the whole thing to become a different texture. Every part that has glue on it is going to be more papery, and when it's that texture, it's a whole lot easier to cut and take off. So I'm just making sure that that is completely flattened out, and I will start drying it. I like to use my heat tool here because I just find that it makes my process a lot quicker. A lot of projects, and I'm trying to save time where I can. If you're enjoying this video so far, consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it so very much. So now I'm going to take this scrapbook paper, and this, I've used it in other projects, so I'm just, it goes in the bucket with my little scraps, and I'm going to start tearing the paper. You want to tear it in the way that the white part is on the outside so that it looks torn, and it's also going to give you a bit of a divider or edge so that you can tell the difference between the papers that you're using. You will understand when you see me put it down. I know sometimes I say it and it doesn't sound right when it comes out of my mouth, but my brain knows what I'm saying, so I hope y'all's brains know exactly what I'm saying. Now, I'm going to start to cut out. I know I want to use these two witches on these papers. I love these little witches. I think they're cute. And the funny thing is, one of them looks like she's scared. Now, what in the heck is a witch scared of, right? She looks like she's spooked out by something, so we're going to go with it. I'm just going to do a rough cut. And then, of course, if you want a fussy cut, you can, but I want to leave part of it kind of rounded and, not as angular, I guess. I don't want to cut her out into a block, and I don't want to take the time to do a bunch of fussy cutting because I'm going to have to make a backing anyway. May as well wait until I can cut it out on a thicker piece, right? So once the fabric is completely dry, I am just going to take my scissors and begin to cut anything that I can cut with the scissors. This is just like the first cut. It's a rough cut. Get the excess off there. And then I can use a utility knife or something like that, an X-Acto knife, to get off anything that I can't reach with the scissors. And I'm just going to go round and round and look for all the excess. I like to kind of start with the outsides because it just seems to be easier to get to, and then I'll work my way down to the more difficult pieces. This is a little sanding stick that I got from TEMU. Y'all, if you're here today visiting with me, I thank you for your time. However you found yourself here, I really hope that you find something you like and stay. Okay, so where I'm able, I'll use my little micro sander here. And you can use a piece of sandpaper wrapped around a pencil, something like that, if you need to get in those spaces. That's how it looks so far. And then I'm just going to sand off all that extra paint that I got that overlapped on the sides because I was hurrying. Because again, the kids are back in school. And I'm going to go over that and just clean it up. I don't want any of the lighter colored paper to, when it's wet, to show that black underneath. So I want to keep it crisp. And I want to see where I want to put my little witches. I like that she's looking upward. I think that that's cute. I like the position of it. And then I just decided to cut the wording off over here. Now you can use anything you want. You can use cards from Dollar Tree. You can use stickers for this. You can use cutouts, whatever you want to use. You could even get a coloring book, color it yourself, cut them out and use it. You surely can. And I do think Dollar Tree has some Halloween coloring books. So you'll be in luck with that. Yeah, I think I like them there. Now look, this is the back of cards. I got the front of the cards for a project, so I cut the back off and we're going to use it. How about that? I could not find my white cardstock. This is going to work perfect. I'll use some spray adhesive. I'm going to take them outside, spray it, put it down. It's going to stick quickly and permanently. So I'm going to take it outside because it has to be in a ventilated area. Spray it and bring it back in. Look at that. She's not going anywhere. There's not a wrinkle to be seen anywhere. Now, I can start deciding where I want to add all of these pieces. I'll just add some Mod Podge. That's all I'm doing here. Adding some Mod Podge and then sticking down the pieces where I want, and it's totally okay if they stick out or overlap. Okay, that's what we're doing. So you can just watch what we're doing while I talk. Okay, so moving along here, I don't worry about what is sticking out, what overlaps, and whatever. You can feel it and you can tell what's going to be on the top and what's going to be shown, and that's what you want to focus on, because you're going to be cutting off, sanding off, removing the pieces that are overlapping on the insides of the letters and that sort of thing. So it's almost like a puzzle, but not. Um, you know, you know what I'm saying. We've decoupaged before. In fact, I've done another project with the same EEK sign. There's a lot of potential with these words. I think one says boo. I think. So yeah. Moving along here, I just want you to see that you can use a bunch of different media. I've got fabric on here. I've got some cardstock. The prints are thin, like a regular paperweight. They're not thick. They're thin. Now, when you put Mod Podge on, if you're bothered by wrinkling in Mod Podge with thin paper, you're going to not want to put the top layer on here. You're going to use a little bit and let it dry. This is Halloween, and for me, it will look more aged if we leave the bumps and lumps in there, and that's what I'm going with. I'm just embracing it and moving along. Now, since we've got these on the cardstock, it's much easier to cut without worrying that I'm going to tear anything. And I'm going to trim around the hat and then pretty much leave the rest of that outline right where it's at. It's going to give it a little more beefiness when I am ready to put it onto the EEK sign. Because I'm going to have these overlapping a little bit. See, they're kind of overlapping, kind of hanging off the E a little bit. And that's what we're going to be doing. So the cardstock is going to help with that. I'm going to put a little bit on the back, decide where I want her to go, put a little on the back of her, and then press it down. Now the card will try, well, I'm going to say the card, this little witch, it will try to come up a little bit or curl upward, but as you're drying it, all you have to do is tap it down and it will stick down to the bottom. I'm going to Mod Podge over the top of everything, and I put Mod Podge on every time I turn around. I'm putting more Mod Podge on because I want this to be one piece that stays together. And once we start cutting and trimming the pieces away that we're not going to keep on there, I want to be darn sure that nothing comes loose. So it looks kind of ratty right now, doesn't it? But it's not going to stay that way, so don't worry. I'm going to dry it. You can see the little witch on the bottom. I'm patting her head down so that it stays on the glue. I'm going to also flip it over and do the back of it. And then I'm going to put it on a surface that won't hurt. See, I put it on here. I do have a self-healing mat. Put your spectacles on. But I'm doing this on the back of a canvas that I got from Dollar Tree. I just use this canvas. It's like a little cutting surface. You can cut through it. It's not going to hurt your table. It works great. So that's what I'm doing. I've also painted on it. I just left the plastic on it. Talk about saving some money. Yeah, and we can still use this later for another project if we want. Now I'm using my utility knife and trimming off what I can there. You can also grab your little sander and you can sand off. Look how that black just pops around all of that when you get it trimmed. It looks so good. Wait till you see it when it is completely done. I like it a lot, and I hope that you do when you feel inspired. So some of that paper overlapped on that E. I just peel that off. I don't know if I leave that in the video or not, but I do peel that off, and I'm just cutting around. I'm feeling where I need the knife to be, and I'm leaning it right up against it's not wood, the MDF or whatever it is, and using that as a guide so I know where to cut. And it works really well doing it that way. And then you can also use the knife to scrape off what you need to scrape off. Now I am going to put some distressing around the edges. This is my antiquing wax, because you know how we do on this channel. I'm using a finger dauber, and I am going to go all the way around the edges. It is not a problem at all. You definitely want to wait and do the waxing step last. Look, he's got the boogie fever. Wah, 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 wah. I thought he was funny. I thought y'all could use a little laugh. It's going to be all right. We're all going to be all right. So continue around here and go all over as much and as heavy as you like. The places that you can't get with a sponge or a sponge brush, or you could even use a Q-tip if you wanted to, but you just go ahead and grab your brush and add that wherever you need to add it. And then dry it, because wax has to be dried too, just like paint does. Paint and glue. Then as I'm drying with my right hand, the left hand is cleaning off the table, getting ready for the next project, because that's how I do things. All right, now I'm going to go around here and I am going to add in the wax around all of these pieces. All around the edges. It's kind of bumpy. I'm going to go around the edges, and then I'm going to go around the little opened area on the sides. I also decided when I did that to go ahead and pull that color in and over the top of the orange, just to mute it out a bit too. I want everything to look like it belongs together. I'm going to use these little blocks. You can get pieces like this from Dollar Tree and glue this on the back to give it a little more stability, because we're going to be putting the other pieces on there, which is going to add some more weight, and I don't want anything to become unstable or fall apart. That'll do it. Then of course we're going to paint the whole thing black on the back. Now, for those of you who wanted to know how I decide what goes where, I am going to show you. This is just kind of how I do it. I just put it there and decide what I want to do. What you see in my videos is once I've decided where I want to put it, for the most part, because my videos can be quite lengthy if I show you everything. And I don't think y'all want me to keep you that long. I know y'all have other things to do than watch my videos. But I appreciate you being here for sure. Now try your best to put the glue where there is no wax, because sometimes the wax can repel the glue, which would make a weak bond and things could pop off. And, you know, if somebody walked by and knocked it over, then, you know, you might lose a piece, and you don't want that to happen because you worked so hard on it, right? Make sure that the spider doesn't get in the, or anything doesn't get in the way of the bottom, so when you stand it up, it will sit flat. And this is how my final piece will look. You could add lights if you wanted. You could just paint these if you didn't want to do the decoupage, but I love doing the decoupage. I think it's a unique look, and it's kind of fun for me. I like being a messy painter, a messy gluer, a messy crafter. That's how I am. Y'all see how I used the fabric on, I kind of pulled that to the very bottom and added some at the top too. It's just torn pieces of that same fabric just to bring that color up a little bit. The next project is going to be the Victorian EEK. Now the EEK I'm referring to is from Dollar Tree, as well as this little, it's like a little skeleton ornament, I guess. They come in a pack of several. Here's the EEK sign. It's been done a million ways, and you're going to use any type of Victorian or vintage inspired paper that you like. You can use scrapbook paper, you can use old greeting cards, you can use whatever you can find. And then Mod Podge, of course, and a little flat brush, which I love. And a piece of paper that happens to match the theme. So I'm going to start by using Mod Podge on my letters. And I'm just trying to get it right on the top right now. I don't need it on the sides because we're only applying that paper right on the front of the sign. So it's not necessary. Continue around till you have a nice even coat like this. And then we're going to flip the paper right on. This paper is really cool. It has a friend of mine, Marcia, gave me a bunch of paper stacks, and this one has, in the middle of each of those pieces, it almost looks like a little skeleton face, so I thought it was perfect for Halloween. Not to mention it's kind of grungy looking, kind of old and Victorian, which is really cool. So I'm just going to make sure I have no bubbles, no gaps. I want everything nice and flat. I'm going to take my utility knife. I broke the other one, stepped on it and broke it, so now I'm using a heavy-duty one. I have no idea where it came from, and I am going to just start by trimming off the biggest excess pieces. We don't want to do all that little inside work until we get done with all the big stuff. And doing these outside pieces is fairly easy. You're going to go around your entire project and get them off. Then I'm going to use my little emery board here. You can use sandpaper, a sanding block, you can use a finger sander, whatever you have, and just get that down where it is, the paper is right up against your wording. Now I'm going to take these pieces, which by the way, I found a big stack of these at the Goodwill bins. They are absolutely beautiful. And I knew when I saw them I was going to be using these for Halloween, and then I have some I'm going to be using for Christmas, and I cannot wait. So I'm going to make these look really old and distressed. They already look fairly distressed, but by peeling off the edges, you're really going to make them look tattered and old, and I love that. This project just turned out so much better than I anticipated, so I'm so happy to share it with you, and I'm really, really hopeful that you will feel inspired to do something similar to this. And if you do, I would love it if you will email me your pictures. I've gotten several people who have given me their pictures of the projects that I've inspired them to make, and it is very exciting to see them. I'm loving your work. You are a very talented community of young at heart gentlemen and ladies, and I'm very happy to see that you're feeling inspired in this channel, and I love that. So now I'm going to take my antiquing wax and just a little bit of black, and I'm going to go around those edges. The edges, because they're frayed, are really going to allow that to cling to it. So the color is going to cling to it, and look how old that looks. Yes, that's exactly the look that we want for this project. So I'm going to go around to all of the pieces that I've torn off, and I just chose a few that I thought would look good and that maybe looked a little more Halloween themed. And then you can just take your finger and you can just rub this. We want it to look grungy and just like it's been in a trunk forever or in an attic. You know, you get it. Now I'm going to take a little brush. This one came from Dollar Tree in a pack of 3, I think. They work really well. I'm happy with them. Just in case you're looking for some of these brushes. And I'm going to go around on the inside and around the edges of this entire word. This is going to add a little more shadow, a little more dimension. It's going to add more interest, and I just really love it. Very grungy, right? I can't think of a better word. Aged, old, distressed, grungy. Yeah. Now is the fun part. We get to put these pieces down all over the place. These do not have to fit. You don't have to fussy cut them. Don't worry about that right now. That's not our goal right now. It is just to get those pieces on the page. Now you make sure everything's dry before you start Mod Podging anything down. You know, this project's going to take a little time because you've got to let your layers dry in between. But if you're doing several projects, like I do several projects in one sitting, then you can just let the stuff that's painted, set it aside, and work on the next project. If it's got glue that needs to be dried, set it aside, work on the next project. Okay, so now you understand that part. Let's get all these pieces on here where we would like them. I'm just going to go along and add these down wherever they just kind of make sense, where they kind of fit, where I feel like they're going to be seen pretty well, you know. And they don't have to be sitting up straight. They can be sideways. They can be, you know, overlapping one another. Think about if you've ever scrapbooked before. That's kind of the idea. You know, just put it in there and just journal it all down on this sign. I love Halloween, and I love Halloween creations, and I love bringing them to you, and I'm gonna be very sad when I stop doing Halloween projects because it's just so much fun to me. It's so magical, and you know, just got that childlike whimsy. It's exciting. You know, the change of season is exciting, and it just brings me a lot of joy to do this. So now everything's in place. We're going to Mod Podge it, let it dry, and I mean let it dry completely before this step. This paper is going to be very stiff. All of the little pieces that are hanging over are going to be very stiff, which makes them easy to cut. I'm going to go around there and trim off all of the excess, which is the backs of the the decorative pieces that you put on there, the little pictures that you put on there, and just twist them and bend them and tear them off. You know, it doesn't have to look perfect. Check this out. When it is dry, oh my goodness. Look at it. It's leathery and old. I love it. Okay, so now I'm just taking some of that antiquing wax and I'm going to use the brush that had Mod Podge on it. So I have a combination of Mod Podge and antiquing wax, which makes no difference whatsoever. You don't have to do it like this. It's just the brush I had there, so I decided to go with it. You know, some of crafting is an experiment. I'm going to use little blocks to help support this so it will stand up on its own. The part that is going to be glued on, we do not cover with antiquing wax, just like the bottom of the EEK is not covered with wax either. I'm going to just use a little bit of, I'm kind of trying to put some where you can really tell what the letters are. So I kind of divided the EEK, and now I am I am sort of, you know, outlining some of the places. So see, no distressing on the bottom of that because I want the glue to stick. So I'm using wood glue and some hot glue and putting 2 blocks side by side to make it stand up. Now let's add our beautiful little skeleton man. We're going to make him so happy and not scary. He's smiling anyway. He's not scary, is he? Nothing scary about a skeleton. We all have them inside of us, don't we? And that is not scary. All right, so we've removed his arm and we're going to place it at a different angle. Same thing on this side. He's going to have one arm that is out to his side like he's putting his arm around you, and the other arm we are going to make him wave. So I'm just going to reattach it at the shoulder. Now a lot of people are telling me that you can put these in boiling water and then you can dunk them into ice water, and that's an idea if you want to do it that way. But for me, in crafting for you guys, I want to do this as quickly as possible to give you the ideas so that you can use them for yourself. Now the feet are at the wrong angle for him to be standing up straight. So I'm just going to take them off right above the ankle. Gosh, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? This is not for the faint of heart. I'm going to trim off the ankle and I'm going to reassemble him just like we did his arms. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the feet down on the bottom, see where he's going to be standing so I can get an idea of where his arm's going to be back there. Excuse the fuzziness of the camera right now. It was focusing on the top of the E rather than the feet, but I think you get the idea. You're going to add some glue here. You're also going to add a little bit of super glue so that nothing pops off. I did not do that, and I had to fix that later, but do it now. It's the best way. All right, now on the top of the feet or the ankle area, I'm going to add a little more hot glue and super glue, and then place his legs back down on the feet, and I'm just holding his little arm behind until that glue dries, just like that. Now to keep him from popping off, because there is, you know, we got the antique wax on there, glue might not work, so I'm going to use a shallow staple and attach his arm. And look how cute! Now he's not scary at all.